What's going on, y'all? This your boy Jarrell. Hey, listen, we coming to y'all on a Friday night, doing it a little bit differently this week, trying to get ahead of these NFL playoffs that's coming tomorrow. We got all day football Saturday and Sunday, and then we turn around Monday, and hopefully we get a national championship. But like I said, my name is Jarrell, aka Sir Fresh, aka Breeze, one part of the Deep Third. Um, we're so glad that, whether you're here now live um, or when you catch this afterwards, we just appreciate y'all. I'm going to send it to the other two gentlemen and then it'll come back to me for our new segment, technically. Um, and then we'll go from there. So, Dante or Fade, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So it's your boy DP Dante. I'm here. We like we said, we trying to do something different. Coming to you guys on Friday instead of a Sunday, so that you will get the newest and the updated, opinions on what we think that's going to happen. So that it's not, it already happened, and now we just commentary, making comments on it afterwards. So now we're gonna be making comments beforehand. So stay tuned. Gonna be a good show.
All right, y'all. So we started the new segment a couple weeks back called Fresh Thought. Basically, I'm just going to be giving y'all something that, throughout the week that I've seen or something that's just picking my brain. And I'm liable to go off on somebody. So I'm not going to go off on somebody, but I'm just really confused. Desean Watson just signed a huge mega deal last summer. And so the story goes just the other day, 2 days ago, he kind of approached his teammates and kind of mentioned that he might be asking for a trade out of Houston. Um, so on the surface, it's like, players are divas and, this, that, and the third. Um, and then as the story goes into it, he talks about being, kind of disrespected. He wasn't consulted on uh, the hiring of the GM, and um, that's kind of the story. So I'm really confused on his part. Is you knew what ownership was like before you got the money? Did you think ownership was going to change because they gave you that money? Um, and I guess my question that I would pose in these first couple minutes is there anybody that y'all can think of um, that could command that respect that you need to contact them prior to? Now, to go on the other side is, basketball is a game of stars. So basketball, a lot of times, just like you saw Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant kind of hire Steve Nash or get that push to hire Steve Nash. Is there a guy in the NFL that garners that respect that he should be able to name his coach or at least be in the loop of what's going on where you don't do what's best for the team and you do what's best for the player?
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes. I would definitely say, that he should have been consulted, that he should have been in the loop. That's your franchise quarterback. Why wouldn't you want to get his input? And not even, I mean, I think more or less what he wanted was just to sit down and say, "Hey, listen, this is what we're thinking about." And he could have gave his input, and they didn't have to listen to him, but at least they heard him out and heard what he had to say. But I think if I mean you looking at quarterbacks right now, who would you want to build your team around? There's only like basically two people: Patrick Mahomes, Watson. outside of that, who else do you have? Because everybody else is getting older.
I I could agree 110%. Just looking at the landscape, just looking at what it is. I really thought Deshaun Watson was older than he was, and when I heard he was 25 years old, I'm like, dude. I mean, I'd have gave him a Patrick Mahomes contract. Most quarterbacks are good until they're in their mid late 30s, and if you got him at 25, you could have given him a 7-year deal and said, let's do this. The injuries is one thing, but you're right. I think if I'm looking at the landscape, no disrespect to Lamar Jackson, I need your arm to get a little better, but you know, you got aging quarterbacks, and then you got rookies, and then you got a couple of guys that I would say, to try to build your team around. And that is for sure Patrick Mahomes and for sure Watson. I don't consider Russell Wilson older yet, but that's another guy. And his isn't so much because of, he's the quarterback. His is because you've given him garbage in a sense, and he's made a diamond out of that dirty coal you gave him. So that would be my opinion there as far as the quarterbacks. But we can go ahead and hit the show if y'all are ready, and get them topics in.
All right. So, first, man, first thing we want to talk about is the NFL. So we tomorrow basically we got 3 games tomorrow and then 3 games on Sunday. So tomorrow they have the Colts versus the Bills, Rams versus Seattle, the Bucks versus Washington. Then Sunday you have the Ravens versus the Titans. You have the Bears versus the Saints, and then the Browns versus the Steelers. So with these games coming up, man, what are y'all thoughts, man? Like, how do you guys feel about everything? Like who would be the teams that you're like, man, this team has to win. If this team lose, it's gonna put a, they're going to be falling back. Like, what are your thoughts on the 6 games that are going to be playing over this weekend?
Mm, man, this is juicy. So this is how I view sports. Listen, regular season, you do what you got to do to get to the playoffs, right? And playoffs where dudes make money. Um, so I'm not going to look at anybody's season necessarily as a bad season or it was all for nothing. I know some people are going to say Tom Brady and this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, it's hard making the playoffs. Now this year they added an extra team, but it's hard making the playoffs. And as I said, when you go back in history, playoffs is where you get no names that become a name. Um, I don't know. Marshawn Lynch comes to my mind when he broke that big run, and then Marshawn Lynch became Marshawn Lynch. On the flip side, when my Dallas Cowboys was whooping up on them Steelers and Neil O'Donnell was throwing them interceptions, I can't remember the name of the cornerback, but he went and got paid big money and did absolutely nothing after that. You got Joe Fluco, who did absolutely nothing before he won the Super Bowl, threw up prayers when he won the Super Bowl, and did nothing after he won the Super Bowl. That's just my opinion. Trent Dilfer comes to mind. There's a lot of guys that, when it comes to playoffs, they just do what they do. Nick Foles cannot be, for some reason, a regular season quarterback. But when it came to the playoffs, he did what he needed to do to get his team to win. So um, I'm not going to say anybody necessarily. I would say their season was a failure. As far as pressure, um, I think there's pressure on Lamar Jackson, not necessarily to win the game, to play well in the game. I think the last 2 times he was in the playoffs, it I don't know if it was just offensive scheme or whatever they did, but Lamar did not look like Lamar. Um, Unleash the beast. Um, the only other player that I might say, is Drew Brees. This is Drew Brees' probably last ride. And knowing that, I guess I could probably put Philip Rivers in that vicinity as the guys that it could be the end for them. And to think about how good Drew Brees has been over a good long period of time, um, he deserves more than one Super Bowl. It stinks that he hasn't won it. Philip Rivers, um, you think about it. Eli in his draft cast, Eli Manning, two Super Bowls. Ben Roethlisberger, two Super Bowls. And the one who went number one, Philip Rivers, is still without a ring. So
Oh, for
I think I think he's got some pressure again. Football is about a team sport, so you need to have other things around you. But again, I'm not going to consider any teams a failure, but I do think that there's some pressure for guys to play well.
okay.
Fade.
Okay. All right. Um. So let me ask you this question, Jarrell, before I go and say, because this is what I was trying to get to was, what game are you the most excited to see this weekend? Out of the Sunday game and the Saturday game, like out of those six games, which one you like? Man,
Mm.
this if I can't watch any other game on Saturday, I'm watching this one. And then on Sunday, if I can't watch any other game, I'm watching this one. And why?
Bucks in Washington. Bucks in Washington, number one. The reason why I want to see that is, listen, I don't know how many years we're gonna have Brady, and I'm not telling you that he's the best ever to do it, but I look at it like a LeBron, where it's like I want to witness the greatness that is in front of me as long as I can. So I definitely want to see that. Chase Young put up some big words.
Tell the people what he said.
I I want Tom. He said I want him. I mean, I was shocked when he said it. But at the end of the day, man, I look at it and I say, hey, if you want him, you gonna get him. So, but that is my Saturday game that I want to see, and then the Sunday game I want to see is the Baltimore Ravens. Um, listen, the Tennessee Titans beat y'all last year. This year they came in and beat you. Hold on, they went to the middle of your field, disrespected your field, and your head coach had to come out there, not players, the head coach. So if you're real, something got to happen in this game. Y'all got to find a way to make it. Um, I'm really intrigued, even though I picked Baltimore. I'm super intrigued about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns because Browns gonna take it. I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right, good. So I'll go ahead. Oh, Fave, you back or you want me to go still?
Hey, that's
Uh,
all good as long as we got your voice, my brother. Ooh.
who getting ran? Who getting real quick? Who getting ran over? Is Ray giving the business or Ray taking the business?
I think Ray. I think Ray would have got the business. I think Ray would
Oh,
have got the business. That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
I got 50-50. I got 50-50. If they meet 10 times, 5 times is going to be Ray. Ray gonna get him, find Ray gonna get got. And I think that that's a slight
Yeah.
on Ray Lewis because there's not too many guys. I can't remember what Bengals running back or maybe it was a Browns running back rookie came in against him, broke his collarbone right off rip. I mean, that's the type of pain that Ray Lewis inflicted. And I remember he came straight through the hole and Ray just but Ray knew how to tackle. And I think
Yeah.
that when you look at the NFL today, they don't. All they do is really throw their body. So if you're talking Ray in his prime and Mr. 2K in his prime, it's gonna be an even match because that's a big boy. That's a
Yeah.
big boy.
And
Sorry, Faye, my fault.
nah, you good. And I agree with don't know how much we're gonna see of Tom Brady. Not a Tom Brady fan, but interested to see what he can do with the Bucks because I know they had a couple stretches where it was rough. Um, it's kind of crazy to think that this is it to seeing Tom Brady, Drew Breeses, like we all grew up kind of watching them all our life, and now they're kind of getting to the end of the road. I
Yeah,
can see the Bucks getting past Washington. Like looking at the standings, how I'm looking at them now, I could definitely see the Bucks getting past Washington. I just think the Saints still take it for the NFC. For the AFC, probably Steelers. I probably see the Steelers taking it for the AFC. Looking, I'm sorry, what am I doing? Not the Steelers, the freaking Chiefs. My bad. The Chiefs for the AFC. I don't know why I said Steelers, but the Chiefs, I still see taking it for the AFC. But I think the Saints got it for the NFC though. Dante.
Mm.
all right. So that was Rashad Mendenhall. He broke his collarbone.
Ah,
That's who it was.
Yeah. Uh, and on top of that, the question that we were asking about Ray Lewis and 2K, yeah, Ray Lewis, yeah, he getting low and he put underneath his shoulder pad, underneath his helmet, and he racking them because he runs too high. And the reason why he runs high is because he a big boy first off, and nobody want to hit him. And then on top of that, nobody don't tackle now because they
Nope.
afraid of getting fined. But if he was playing with Ray Lewis, he'll be out of there quick because cats would be underneath low and he be running straight up like this. And I used to love when people run straight up like that. I just take my crown of my helmet, and now I know you'll get fined for it. But take that helmet, and you better have you better have a hard chin strap. You better not have no leather when you're gonna be getting stitches. But yeah, um, I'm excited to see on the Saturday's game. Of course, I want to see the Bucks, but I already know who's gonna win that game, so I ain't worried about that game. I want to see the Bills and the Colts because I want to see what the Bills gonna do. They've been running through teams left and right, just demolish the daggone Dolphins. They beat them. What it was like 50 something to
Oh
13 or
yeah.
whatever it was,
Oh
26.
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it was bad. So I want to see what them boys gonna do because I think they're gonna be an underdog, and I think that they're gonna run through a lot of teams, and they're gonna get kind of far. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. But their defense is good. Their offense is looking terrific. And they're getting to the point right now, like they already beat up on the big brother, which is the Patriots, and so now they the top dog. So I kind of think that a lot of people are sleeping on them. So I really want to see that game, and then I want to see the Browns and the Steelers, man. Like we said, unfortunately, their head coach is going to be out because of COVID. So that kind of stinks, and that kind of handcuffed them a little bit. But at the end of the day, nobody won't care about that. None of the Browns fans is like, oh, I understand if we lose. Nah, they want that dub. Don't matter who at the helm. So I'm excited to see that game because the last time they played each other in the playoffs was in 2003, and the Browns was winning. They was beating their tail, and they was playing at Pittsburgh, and they were beating their tails. I think going into the fourth quarter, and I think at halftime it was like 24-7 or something, and the Browns end up losing by three, and that was the last time that they played. That was the last time the Browns made it to the playoffs, and that was the last time the Browns played the Steelers in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see what this game is going to hold, and I think that this is going to be. I think this is going to surprise a lot of people because I don't think that the Steelers are what they were when they first started. I think they started off really hot, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" And now it's almost like somebody threw. They had a fire out in the woods, and somebody just came and threw a bucket of cold water on it, and now you like all you see is smoke. And I think people are catching up with the Steelers, and that's why they've been struggling the last, towards the end of the season. But I like Mike Tomlin. Man, I want him to get it done because I know if he lose to the Browns, I can only imagine what they're gonna be saying on 93.7 The Fan.
Oh yeah.
And people calling in, it's gonna be ridiculous. Um, and like I said, hey, I take him. I take him. I take Mike Tomlin in Tampa again. Shoot, but all right, man. So let's go on to the next topic.
Yeah.
So, or did anybody have anything?
Nah.
Nah, the only thing I had like super quick is, the only reason that I believe in the Colts is because of Philip Rivers. I know I believe they beat in overtime the Packers, and they held that offense to I think 31. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I think if they can hold the Bills to something like that, I think that they can score enough to win. So I'll leave it at that. Go ahead to the next one.
All right, hey. So the next topic is about college football. Yay, our favorite. Uh, so yeah, so you got the Ohio State versus Alabama, which is going to be a great game. However, I believe I believe Ohio State's going to win this game. Um, and I'll go first, and I'll let you guys go. So I think Ohio State's going to win. I just see that it's like they have a different swag. I think that Ohio State also they're to this point. Well, especially with Justin Fields. Hopefully he's. I haven't really seen or heard anything too much. I know he was a little gimpy in the
Yep.
last game, but I haven't really heard anything about his health. So I'm assuming that everything is good, unless they're just trying to keep things under wrap. But if this is what I'm predicting. I'm predicting he's going to throw for three touchdowns and he's going to rush for one. And I believe that they're going to beat them by 7 points or better. And
Hmm.
I just think that that if they can shut down Devin Smith and contain him, I don't think that they really have much because I know they got the running back, which is good. He a beast, but their big plays mostly are through the air. You know, throwing the ball. I think the quarterback had like 14, 20 plus yard touchdown receptions. And I know the running backs getting loose and stuff like that, but the Big Ten, they tackle. Them boys gonna be ready to put some wood on them. Um, and I think if they can tackle and not let him run free, and if they can contain him, I think they're good. I don't think Alabama's defense is that good. I know that Patrick, uh, what is his last name?
Sertan.
Curtain
Yeah,
Jr.
Patrick Sertan's son. Yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely good. Um, and I think that he's good, but outside of that, I don't. I mean, they're always good, but I don't think it's like years going by like that. The Alabama defense, where you like, oh gosh, you just look around, you like, dang, yeah, this dude gonna be crazy. This dude gonna be crazy. This they got people, they just haven't arrived yet, and I think that Ohio State is just prime, they're seasoned, and them boys ready. But yeah, so I got them beating them by at least 7 points. But whoever
Mm,
wants to go next.
man, I couldn't disagree with you more. I listen. I was on board with you that I thought they were going to win, and then I got the news that I was hoping that I wouldn't even have to hear again. Jalen Waddle might play in the game. I, if he plays, I don't see how Ohio State can win. If for those who don't know, Jalen Waddle was the number one receiver going into the year, not Devontae Smith. Jalen Waddle was number one, and he goes back and takes that ball off that kickoff, fractures his ankle, and Devontae was released. They unleashed the Devontae Smith beast, but Jalen Waddle was the higher NFL prospect at that time. Um, he was the guy that everyone was looking to. And if he's back, I don't know what you do because you can't bracket Smith and you can't bracket Waddle. So you can only do one or the other. Now, Waddle's coming off an injury, so you're probably going to try to take away Devontae Smith. But you got two dynamic receivers and a running back that's out of his mind. So uh, I, I was with you, Dante. And then as soon as Nick Saban said he's a game time decision, and prior to that, his teammates talking about how good he looks in practice. Anybody can say he looks good in practice, try to psych people's minds out. Listen, we talking about Alabama, who's got 5 star after 5 star after 5 star. Nick Saban ain't gonna put him on the field unless he's ready to go because he's got that talent behind him. And for Jalen Waddle to even come back, knowing that he's going to the NFL, um, I think it takes tremendous courage, and I think that's going to uplift the team because you got guys just like bowl games or whatever, they opting out and getting ready for the NFL. And although he's coming off an injury, he's like, nah, man, I got unfinished business to do. So I got mad respect for him. But listen, I want Ohio State to win so bad, but I don't know how you do it. You know Nick Saban. Talk about his defense if you want to, Dante. But we know Nick Saban, and you're talking about one game to get the most out of your players. Nick Saban's my coach.
Listen,
Nick
I
Saban's
think
my coach.
I think that defense gonna give up over 25 points. Um, and then on top of that too, with you being a defensive back, you know how if he's coming off of that kind of injury, I'm testing him. I'm gonna see if you can do it because I broke my ankle twice. Once in seventh grade and once in ninth grade, and both of them broke. Clean break and fracture, all that crap. So I know like if that happened, what was that, week one, first week?
Nah, that was like week 3 or 4 because he had
Week three,
25
four.
catches. He had 25 catches, I think, going into the season. It might have been week 4.
So week four, so that's not that long, especially for a fracture.
I
That
was shocked
ankle,
that they said he was coming back.
that ankle ain't ready. That ankle ain't ready. I don't believe it. I definitely know that bones are definitely a lot better injury than ligaments. But I
Hey
mean,
man,
unless it was
TL got TL.
let- what's that?
TL.
So would
Hey,
y'all play? If you were him, would you play?
Yeah, man. I'm I'm t- listen. I understand the money, um, and maybe I would feel differently if money was going to be thrown in my face. But eh, listen, I played on a torn ACL my senior year. Played on a torn ACL. 5 games of the regular season, second half of the regular season, and then 4 playoff games. Listen, I love football and I want to be out there with my teammates. I tell my players all the time, when 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 you get there before you get to the pros, that is going to be the best football of your life. Because after that, it's dog eat dog. It's already dog eat dog, but it's dog eat dog in the NFL. Dudes are looking at you like I'm about to get paid because of you. Because I'm gonna hit you,
Mhm.
I'm a make a catch over you. I'm gonna block you. I'm gonna throw on you. I'm gonna do whatever, but I'm gonna make money because of you.
Yeah.
And it's about money. It becomes 100% business. So I would, for me, I would go back and I would try to do what I can to help my team to win because again, you're not going to get this opportunity again.
For me, with me knowing how the NCAA is and how they're making money off of me and how it's just uh it's a lead me to the slaughterhouse. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I
Really?
and the reason why I say that is because you have to think of the bigger picture. Like, and I mean, I guess people will probably say, "Man, that's selfish," but at the end of the day, if he plays in that game and he gets injured and he can't go to the league, how much money did his family miss out on? Is Nick
That
Saban gonna write him a check?
that's what
No.
insurance is for. That's why they got these insurance
Yeah,
policies.
true.
But does he have one? Do we
Oh, I'm
know
sure he does.
that?
All top players now coming out, they and usually there's a booster or somebody that pays for it. I'm not trying to tell on nobody. I ain't trying to be no rat.
They
Um,
already they already know that. But
but they do.
but if okay, just say that okay, let's just say that if he didn't have one. If he didn't have one, what? Good job, baby. My baby P. If he didn't have one and he goes out there and he plays and he gets hurt and now he can't now he has to go work at a I don't know, we say he's his major's business, he go works at a firm and now he's making 80,000. That's not bad money. That's nothing to turn your nose up at. But you could have been making millions and you're doing your like your dream job. So I think it just depends on for me, I would say that it would probably depend on how bad the injury was. Do I really feel like I can be um productive?
Yep.
Because a lot of cats will try to go out there and they'll just try to do stuff, but then you're not being productive. So then, so I look at it from Ohio State plan. I'm like, good, let him play. Let him go in there and him be, slower than the next person that would have been in there. And so you helping me out because now you handicapping yourself. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, oh, okay. So he supposed to be playing and he just fractured his ankle and it's only been what about 3 months at best. Yeah, go ahead, put him in there. I hope he's ready. Because if he not, guess what? And you know how it is too. In football, if you a half step slow and if he's thinking about oh my gosh, I got to cut because right now in practice, nobody ain't hitting him. Nobody ain't touching him. He got on that what the quarterbacks used to wear in college.
Red
The
jerseys.
red
He got
jersey.
the red jersey on, running down. He probably got helmet on, no shoulder pads, and he's running around. They're like, oh yeah, he cutting good, but it's a different beast when you cutting and you got somebody that's 250 coming at you, and you got to get on that horse, and you be like, oh snap, I can't get on my horse like I need to, and then that's when people get hurt. And so for that, hey, that that works in my favor. I think. Would you play fade?
That is tough because not from your standpoint of always wanting to get back at the man, Dante. But I hear what you're saying. That that money would be enticing to me. But you know what though? If you've already established your position, like who was it that got hurt? Was it last year or the year?
The quarterback.
No. His brother played defense too. Is it Bosa?
Oh yeah, Nick.
Yeah, Joe.
Um,
Yeah,
was it
Joey.
his brother got hurt, or did he just not play?
Yeah, he got hurt and he uh
yeah.
he
Yep.
decided not to come back.
But so I mean, in his position was still good. So for me, if I've already built out my position, this is how I look at it. If I've already built out my position, if they're already telling me you're top 10, 15, whatever, first round, I might not play because it's like what else is it going to do for me because if I go out there and re-injure myself now, okay, I still may get picked in the first round, but now I'm putting back my NFL, when I can maybe play in the NFL because I re-injured or at least put something towards it to now I can't play as much or something when I get drafted. So I probably wouldn't play. Or I probably wouldn't play.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely that's a tough one, man, because I look at it from just like a future standpoint, like
It's a business.
yeah,
At
business.
senior, or I guess you could say when you hit your senior level, it's a business at that point. Because you can get drafted and all that other stuff that comes with it. So I'm looking at it at a business standpoint.
I always, whenever I hear this kind of question or about playing when you're hurt or that kind of stuff, I always think about Brett Favre when Antonio Freeman was trying to hold out and he wanted to get paid, and Brett Favre came out and was like, "Hey, just play. You do good, you get." And guess what? A couple weeks later, ACL gone.
Toe it up.
He done, and that was it. You didn't hear his name no more. He was done. Now, did he have? I don't know. Did he have insurance on himself? Maybe, but whatever the case was, he was trying to get paid more money. Somebody convinced him to chill out and just play, and he did, and then he got hurt, and then that was it. And so whenever I hear that, I just look at it from like a business standpoint. You know, am I going to be hurting myself? Now, even I guess you could look at it from the standpoint of the people that's opting out. Like, oh, well, like Florida, big disgrace, Fabe. They had like what 15 people, something ridiculous. Like, nah, bro, we good, we good. Now that's just crazy. But some of them I get it. I guess hey, I just want to focus on the NFL. I don't want to. And I know I'm like, well, the only reason they did that is because they knew they wasn't playing a national championship game. Now, if they would have made the playoffs, none of them would have held out. I guarantee. But they only hold out because they were like, well, we make it, so I'm just gonna focus. Now that's being selfish. Now, if you hold yourself out of the national championship game, I look at it almost like this: like, okay, are you really being selfish? Because that's the highest stage. That's what you go to college and you want to get to. And if you feel like you're injured and you feel like you shouldn't play because you're not going to be beneficial, it's not going to be beneficial for the team, or you feel like you just can't go and not force yourself, then it's kind of one of those things like, okay, well, that's not being selfish in my opinion. But I know people would definitely look at it as selfish because I think that's how people looked at Joey when he sat out the entire year.
I definitely looked at him as selfish. If you're gonna opt out before the season.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking like a Joey Bosa, Fabe. Like you said, if you got that numero one pick, um, you just go. Jadavion Clowney, when he came in, they were like, oh, should he sit out the season, da da da, so he doesn't get injured. Um, yeah, I got you, but make that decision before the season. Don't make it middle of the season. Don't make it the end of the
Or
season.
play
Don't be like,
like
oh,
crap.
the,
He ended up
the
playing like
season
crap
ain't
that
going.
year.
Yeah, I mean he didn't play great because I guarantee he was trying to not get hurt. Um, a couple big ones that I remember was Marcus Lattimore,
Mm-hmm.
when he tore his knee up at South Carolina. I mean, listen, if you're playing running back, I 100% understand you sitting out. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. 100%. Um, every other position, I'm not going to say the same because I think quarterbacks, you put yourself at minimum risk. Um, wide receiver, minimum risk. Linebacker, D line, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean it's trenches, but that's what you're used to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's your day in, day out. But hey, it is what it is, and everybody's got to make their own decision. I just think I would probably take Jalen Waddle higher for him playing in the game than I would if he doesn't.
Mm.
I mean, that definitely shows guts and stuff like that. So I understand that.
Yep.
All right, Fabe, it's on you, buddy.
All right, guys, this is the last segment of the show. This is where we take your guys' questions, comments. This is deep thought. So currently, all we got is from Scott, where he couldn't hear my audio. So I appreciate you telling me that because I fixed that right away as soon as you said that. So as we wait for anybody to put their questions, comments, and stuff like that in chat, do you guys? Let's see. What do I want to ask here? Or actually, I'll ask Mr. Jarrell this because we ain't talked in a minute about the Cowboys. Is Are they keeping Dak?
as I as I take a look, and I know we haven't talked about drafts and stuff like that. When I look at these quarterbacks coming out, I'm passing on Dak.
You letting them go?
I I'm letting them go.
So you starting over?
No, I'm not. I'm not starting over. I think that there are some guys that are coming out that can produce what Dak has produced to a certain extent, um, or that might fit my team better. And I think there's some guys that I could get for less money, um, that'll be able to
Wow.
do. I know. Listen, I love Dak, and I want
No,
Dak to
you
get his
don't.
money.
You don't love
No, you
that.
don't.
Hey,
You don't love
listen,
that.
listen.
Oh my gosh.
There's a cost analysis that I have to look at. Dak Prescott, as much as I love Dak, I can't sit here and say Dak makes players around him better. I think that he's capable of running a team, but I think he needs pieces around. For instance, until he got a number one receiver that the Cowboys traded away from the Oakland Raiders, Dak Prescott was having a pedestrian season. He gets the receiver and he turns into what a Pro Bowl season is. Listen, that's my thing. If you want Deshaun Watson money, you got Deshaun Watson had nobody this year, nobody, and led the league in passing
Mm.
on a terrible team.
That's because they was passing the ball all day because they getting blown out.
They weren't getting blown out. They were in a lot of games. They just lost. So that's number one. But I look at guys and look at what Joe Burrow did. So if Joe Burrow was on the Dallas Cowboys, I would tell you that the Dallas Cowboys would be just as good as what Prescott did. Dak,
Dang.
Dak Prescott ain't win no Super
Wow.
Bowl. He ain't win no NFC Championship.
You know what? I hope that he goes to like the Giants. And y'all got to see him twice a year.
I'm listen, and I will say I hope that he plays well. I hope the Cowboys win, and I'll say I hope he plays well. I like Dak. I love everything about Dak Prescott. At the end of the day, if you're gonna tell me I gotta pay you 30 some million, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not paying you 30 some million.
Wow.
All he
I'm
did was
not.
Y'all
Listen,
see, y'all Cowboys fans ain't never break up with Tony Romo. That's what happened.
no, I was not a fan of Tony Romo. I appreciate what Tony did. I was never a fan of Tony Romo. I just think that and with what's coming out, you have a chance to get somebody, and it's not like you're picking in the back end of the draft. Um, whether it's Trey Lance, Whether it's Zach Wilson, is that his name? I think that's his name from BYU. I really like him. I take him probably over anybody. I love me some Justin Fields, but Mr. BYU is climbing my board. So yeah, man, I'm sorry. I'm not paying. If Dak wants to do a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal at 30, maybe 32, I got you. You want to get up there close to the 35, 40, ain't worth it. I can't put nothing around you, bro. I can't do it.
Okay. Well, since nobody still put anything, I thought of another question. Was it disrespectful to sit Hurts?
Oh, oh man. Oh, well, that was going to be my first topic, and then I changed it up with Watson.
Oh,
But
okay.
I no,
It wasn't.
no. So the way they went about it was all wrong. But the act of what they did, man, I'm not. I can't get mad at them. If now they didn't come out and say why they did what they did. They tried to make it sound like they were trying to play. Listen, at the end of the day, two things. You're now picking sixth instead of ninth, and your quarterback at the end of the game is healthy. So that's two things. I wish what they would have done is said, hey, listen, we're going to let Jalen Hurts play the first half, and then we're going to put in Sufeld or however you say his name, and let him finish off the game because we want to keep Jalen Hurts healthy for the offseason. I wish they would have said it. It would have negated everything. And even though we knew you were tanking, it would have been cool because we're like, okay, we can understand that you want a healthy quarterback. If Jalen Hurts is your guy, you want him to be able to go next year instead of at the end of the game where it's contested. He might throw his body and do something that he not, trying to
Yeah.
fight for yards and you mess around and you get injured. I just don't like the way they did it. And to know that guys on that team weren't on board or didn't know what was going on, that's a frustrating thing. And then the third thing, and I don't know if anybody saw it, but they were kind of showing the clips. And when they took him out, when the coach came over and told him, he mouthed that I could see. He said it, but all I could see is his mouth say, "That ain't right. That ain't right."
Mm.
So he knew the fix was in. But I'm not mad that they did it because it's their organization. And however their organization needs to get what they need, I can't be mad at you. I don't like it, but it is what it is. That's what they got to do.
Interesting take.
Business, right?
True
Business.
that. True that. Interesting take. Interesting.
So would you be having that same energy if at halftime Hurts would have said, "All right, coach, I'm done"?
I would have said he made a business decision. I would have said if Hurts is like, hey, listen, coach, I'm not going back in. I'm not getting hurt. You don't want to win. I'm not going in. Okay, I respect it.
That's what Joey did. You said that he was being selfish.
Nah, 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 nah. He did it selfishly after starting the season and he got an injury. And instead of saying, I'm going to come back and play with my brothers, he just said, nah, I quit. Now, if if you're like, hey, I need to go into this off season, I'm not talking about to the draft because he was already talked about as the number one, number two pick. Um, if you're talking to me about him, Jalen being like, I need to be ready for this off season so I can dig into this playbook, so I can get this footwork down, so I got you.
I don't know. I like you said, man. It was definitely not done right. I don't like it. I think it is kind of disrespectful because you could tell it's almost kind of like one of those things like, oh my gosh, we were surprised that we won. We're surprised that we about to win this game. We did not believe that you could come out and win this game. You surprised us. We got to pull you now. Like that's kind of, I mean, especially if somebody's having a good game and stuff like that. Maybe he could also had some uh some what do you call that? God dog it. Some money, like he completed a certain amount of passes and he could have got some extra money. You know,
True.
so it's like it's a lot of things that that we just don't know. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like, man, it's just crazy that they did that. And if you didn't want to win the game, don't put a quarterback in there. Put your punter in there. Play with 10 people. You feel me? Like,
No lie, I think it would have been more difficult if the Eagles would have won because there's no way that the 6-win Giants should be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
and they won their division, right? So they gotta buy.
Not, not well. Washington goes
Oh
against
yeah, Washington. I'm tripping.
yeah.
Washington's
Washington goes against Tampa, but that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, Washington was the better team, whether they won or not. Washington had the better defense. Washington had the better team. Philly might have played better that day with the rookie quarterback, but in the NFC East, I hate to say it, the, the Washington football team was the better team.
all right, fellas. That's it, man. We'll leave it
All right,
there.
man. I appreciate y'all. Definitely, it feels a little different on a Friday. I don't know, but I like it. I like it.
Let's go. Appreciate you guys watching. Please stay tuned for new episodes. If this is your first time watching, please go and watch the previous episodes that we had. It's a lot of great content there. And like I said, we appreciate you watching D Third. We out.